A wise man once said, "Sometimes the best response is no response at all." And that's a lesson the strongest men in history understood, not just in love, but in life. See, when you stop chasing, when you embrace silence, when you truly let go, something shifts. You force others to confront your absence, and that's when everything changes. At first, she was certain. She told herself she was better off, that life would move on just fine without you. And for a while, she believed it. The space, the silence, it felt like control, like freedom. But time has a funny way of revealing the truth. Because now, in the quiet moments, the ones where she used to hear your voice, feel your presence, know you were there, something feels off. Something is missing. The way you made her feel safe, the way you stood strong when the world felt like chaos. She didn't notice it before. She didn't appreciate it when she had it. But now it's all she can think about. And then it happens. She realizes she needs you back. But the real question is, do you still need her? At first, it's just a passing thought, easy to ignore. A moment of curiosity, a whisper in the back of her mind. But whispers have a way of growing louder. At first, she welcomed the silence. She convinced herself it was freedom. She expected relief, maybe even a sense of power. But instead, there's this restlessness. Something she can't quite place. She tells herself she's fine, that she made the right decision, that walking away was for the best. But as the days stretch on, the silence that once felt like control now feels like emptiness. And emptiness is much harder to live with. She catches herself reaching for her phone, half expecting to see your name. Nothing. She scrolls through old messages, hoping to find reassurance in them. But all she finds is the echo of a connection she never thought she'd miss. And that's when it starts. The questions, the doubt. She told herself you'd always be there, lingering in the background, waiting, checking in, proving your worth. But you didn't. You vanished. No messages, no reaction, no attempts to fix what she broke. That's when it hits her. You haven't just stopped talking to her. You've reclaimed your power. And that unsettles her more than she's willing to admit. At first, the doubt is just a flicker, a passing thought she can push away. But doubt has a way of growing, of taking root in quiet moments when there's nothing left to distract her. She thought she had options. She believed the world was full of possibilities, new faces, new energy, new distractions. And for a while, it was exciting. The rush of something new, the thrill of attention, the validation that made her feel like she made the right choice. But novelty wears off, excitement fades, and when the noise dies down, what remains is what's real. At first, she convinced herself someone else could fill your place. Someone else would make her feel the way you did. But soon, she starts to notice the difference. The men around her play games, overcompensate, and seek validation. They try too hard or not enough, never striking that balance of effortless strength that you carried so naturally. They flood her inbox, say all the right things, promise more than they can ever give, but something about it feels empty, shallow, forced. And then she realizes, with you there were no games, no pretending, no need for validation because you never sought it. You stood firm in who you were. You didn't beg for attention, you didn't chase, you didn't prove your worth, you simply knew it. And that knowing, that quiet, unshakable confidence made all the difference. And now, in your absence, she finally understands. What she had with you wasn't common, and what did she let go of? She may never find it again. At first, she thought she was just missing the routine. The texts, the late-night conversations, the small daily check-ins that once felt so constant they were almost background noise. But it's not just the messages she misses. It's something deeper, something she can't replace. At first, she convinced herself that space was what she needed, that losing you wouldn't really change much, that she would feel lighter, freer. And for a while, maybe she did. But time has a way of revealing the truth. Because now the silence she once welcomed lingers like an unanswered question. It follows her, creeping into quiet moments, slipping into thoughts she can't control. At first it was just at night, when she reached for her phone and found nothing. But now, it's everywhere. In the mornings when she wakes up, in the spaces where your presence used to be, in the places you used to go together. She meets other men, hoping to find that same spark, that same feeling she once had with you. They compliment her. They flood her with attention. They say all the right things, but something is missing. She laughs at their jokes, but the laughter feels hollow. They try to impress her, but none of it carries weight. There's no depth, no steadiness, no presence that makes her feel truly safe. And now she starts to realize it was never just about what you said or did. It was about the way you made her feel without even trying. Your quiet strength, your unwavering confidence, your ability to be there without needing to prove anything. Your presence wasn't just something she enjoyed. It was something she needed. And now, for the first time, she understands. Your presence was rare, and in your absence, she feels it more than ever. The mind is funny. It clings to what was real. It brings back moments she thought were forgotten, replaying them when she least expects it. She thought moving on would be easy, that your absence would be nothing more than an adjustment. But now she's realizing it's not just the silence that lingers. It's the memories. And memories don't fade as fast as she hoped they would. At first, it's small things. A song playing in a cafe. A phrase someone says that sounds just like you. A place you once went together, and for a split second it's like you're there again. Like nothing ever changed. But then reality snaps back, and she remembers, you're gone. And not just gone, unreachable. She starts to think about the things she never paid attention to before. The way you listened, not just to respond but to understand. The way you made her feel safe without needing to say a word. The little things, the quiet moments, the effortless connection. They were always there, but she never truly saw them. Now they mean everything. She catches herself wanting to tell you something, only to realize she no longer has that privilege. She starts to understand that losing you wasn't just losing a relationship. It was losing something real, something rare. And there's no distraction in the world that can fill the space you once held. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But right now, she's suffering in reality, the reality of losing you. And the worst part? It's a reality she created. At first, she thought she knew exactly how this would play out. She expected the late-night messages, the double texts, the weak excuses to check in. She thought you'd fight for her, try to change her mind, prove your worth like so many others before you. But you didn't. You did nothing. You accepted her decision without resistance, without argument, without desperation. And that unsettles her more than anything. Because most men chase. Most men panic when a woman pulls away. They flood her inbox, trying to remind her of what they had. They beg for closure, for another chance, for just one more conversation. But you simply stepped back. You let go. You moved forward like her absence didn't shake you in the slightest. And that silence, it speaks louder than any words ever could. At first, she convinced herself you just needed time. That any day now you'd reach out. That sooner or later you'd crack. But the days passed, then the weeks. And still, nothing. No messages. No weak attempts to just check in. No signs of heartbreak. No proof that she still held power over you. And now, instead of feeling in control, she feels something else entirely. Doubt, confusion. A slow creeping realization that maybe, just maybe, she miscalculated. Because instead of proving your worth to her, you simply continued living your life. And that drives her crazy. At first, she thought your silence meant you were hurting, that you were struggling to move on, that you were just too proud to reach out. But then something shifted. She started seeing things, maybe on social media, maybe through mutual friends, or maybe just in the energy that no longer revolved around her. And that's when she realized you weren't just moving on. You were leveling up. You didn't waste time sulking, waiting, hoping she'd change her mind. No, you took the silence, the space, the void she expected you to fill with desperation, and you used it. You sharpened your mind, strengthened your body, found clarity in your purpose. You focused on yourself, your goals, your growth. And now she sees it. The way you carry yourself differently, the quiet confidence, the peace in your presence. You are no longer emotionally available at the snap of her fingers. No longer the man who would have dropped everything just to get her back. And that unsettles her, because she once had access to the best version of you. But now she'd have to earn it. At first, the distractions worked. New conversations, new faces, new experiences, they kept her busy, kept her mind occupied. She told herself she was moving on, that she was fine, that she was better off. But eventually, the noise fades, the messages become predictable, the attention feels empty, and no matter how much she tries to convince herself otherwise, something is missing. It's not just about finding someone else. It's about finding the feeling she once had with you. The way you understood her without her having to explain. The way your presence made her feel grounded, secure, without effort, without force. The way you carried yourself, with quiet confidence, with strength that didn't need to be announced. And now, as she looks around, she realizes that isn't something she can replace. Stoicism teaches us to accept loss, to let go of what we cannot control. But it also teaches us to recognize true value when we see it. And now, for the first time, she truly sees it. She didn't just lose a man, she lost something rare. And deep down, she knows it may never come back. At first, she called it freedom, a fresh start, a chance to rediscover herself without you. She told herself she was moving towards something better, something new. She even believed it for a while. But what she didn't realize was that she wasn't running toward anything. She was running away from something real. And now, she's staring regret in the face. No matter how many distractions she fills her days with, no matter how many people she surrounds herself with, there is always that empty space where you once stood. The space she thought she didn't need. The space she was so sure she could replace. She reaches for her phone, expecting to see your name, half believing that maybe, just maybe, you finally gave in, that you finally broke your silence. But there's nothing. No message, no call, just silence. And that silence, it's no longer peaceful. It's loud. Louder than the nights out, louder than the empty conversations, louder than the fleeting attention that once felt exciting, but now just feels hollow. Because deep down, she knows this isn't how it was supposed to feel. She thought she'd feel lighter without you. Instead, she feels the weight of what she lost. And now there's only one question left. Did she make a mistake she can't undo? At some point, the regret becomes too heavy. The endless cycle of what ifs, the late night overthinking, the distractions that no longer distract, it all becomes exhausting. She realizes she can't stay in this emotional limbo forever. She needs to grow. She needs to change. So instead of running from the past, she finally faces it. And for the first time, she asks herself the hard questions. Was I acting out of impulse or wisdom? Did I walk away from something that truly wasn't right for me? Or did I push away something rare because I didn't know how to value it? What do I truly want? And more importantly, who do I need to become? And as she reflects, the answers start to unfold. She thought she missed your attention. She thought she missed the comfort of having someone there. But it's deeper than that. What she really longs for, what she truly lost, was your strength, your stability, your self-mastery. You didn't just love her. You led yourself. You didn't just make her feel safe. You were safe. A presence that didn't waver. A man who didn't need to prove his worth because he already knew it. And that's why she's struggling. Because what she really lost wasn't just you. It was the version of herself she got to be when she was with you. The sense of security, the way she felt grounded, the way she didn't have to question where she stood. And now, as she looks at herself, she realizes something else. The qualities she admired most in you, the ones that made you unforgettable, they're the same qualities she now knows she needs to develop within herself. And then, one day it happens. A notification, a message. Maybe it's just a simple hey. Maybe it's longer, more vulnerable, an admission of everything she's been suppressing. That she misses you, that she's been thinking, that she regrets how things ended. But here's the thing, the man she left behind, he no longer exists. She expected you to be waiting, to still be hoping, to see her name and feel that familiar rush, that pull back into what once was. But the reality? You've changed. You spent your time leveling up, not for her, but for yourself. You turned the silence into growth, the distance into self-mastery. You didn't sit in the past, waiting for her to realize your worth. You built yourself into a man who never needed someone else to validate him in the first place. And now the real question isn't whether she wants you back. It's whether you still want her. Because this isn't the same dynamic anymore. She no longer holds the power she once did. The choice isn't solely hers, now it's yours. This isn't just about her realizing what she lost, it's about you realizing what you've gained. Self-respect, growth, strength, the wisdom to know that a Stoic man never waits to be chosen, he chooses. So if she reaches out, if she finally sees your worth, that's fine. But by then, you won't be the same man who once longed for her validation. You won't need closure, apologies, or second chances. Because you've already won the only battle that ever mattered, the battle within. You've built yourself into a man who stands firm, who doesn't seek approval, who walks his own path. And that's something no one can take from you. Because the greatest victory isn't winning someone back. It's never losing yourself in the first place. Thanks for being with Stoic Heart on this journey today. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts or suggestions for future topics, so drop a comment below. See you in the next video.